Hello, nerds. Pardon the less than great quality on this video. I have been editing like crazy and getting ready for Dink and so on and so forth, but this is your week in Nerdom supplemental edition for the week of April 9th, 2018. For those of you that don't know, supplemental is the catch-all, and there's a longer spiel, but we don't really have time for it. So let's jump into the intro real quick.
Quiet on the set, rolling.
Hi, I am Bitsy Telek.
Hey, I'm Hale Appleman.
I'm Walter Kane.
I'm Rene Aubergenois. Odo on Deep Space Nine.
Michael Dorn, Lieutenant Commander Worf, Star Trek The Next Generation.
Come and see me and hear me and talk to me and listen to me talk about myself.
Hey man, this is Kevin Smith, often considered generally nerdy, and you are listening to what is often considered generally nerdy.
On Generally Nerdy.
You're listening to
Generally Nerdy.
Generally nerdy.
Generally nerdy.
So don't mind me as I'm moving around my house getting things ready, but I am getting ready for Dink, so we're also today going to be filming the How-To Comic-Con for Dink pre-con. So yeah, I've got a lot of stuff going on the next couple weeks, so I hope you guys are ready for all the content. But first off, we are going to be talking about Marvel's new park at Disney. I believe it's Disneyland. They're going to have this issue. Oh no, it's all of their theme parks. So Disney owns Marvel, and Disney is going to want to expand into Marvel Park, but they won't be able to call it Marvel because Universal somehow has the rights to that name for a theme park. So Universal has like Marvel characters at their theme park, but they don't do Marvel movies. Disney can do Marvel movies, they just can't have a Marvel theme park. And yeah, they are building a Marvel theme park over at Disney. This is happening. This is a thing that is going to be realized by 2020. They just are gonna have to name it something not Marvel, which is weird, but that's happening. So yeah, very strange. And we're gonna move on. Next, we're talking about Apple, and again, I must go check out other things. Apple is going to be shutting down iTunes. Oh wow, this light is not nearly as flattering. Apple's going to be shutting down iTunes, according to rumors, as of March 31st of next year. This isn't just like random rumors. This is Jimmy Iovine, who is co-executive of Beats by Dre, and also co-executive, or one of the executives over at Apple, has said that Apple is closing. The date does not come from him, or not Apple is closing, iTunes is closing down. The date doesn't come from him. The date comes from other insiders in the company. Oh, pardon me. Other insiders in the company, and it's very interesting. So it's an end of an era, right? Like, they're going to be not doing iTunes anymore. They're just going to be doing Apple Music. So what does that mean for the future of podcasting? Are they just going to bring all of those podcasts over to Apple Music? I don't even know exactly how Apple Music works right now, so that's really strange. But yeah, iTunes is shutting down very likely in March of next year, or they're going to be officially announcing it in March of next year. So if you need to, get your iPod taken care of, if you're stuck in the past a little bit like this guy right here, then yeah, you should probably get to that. Our next bit of news has to do with beer. So I'm trying to get at least one nerdy bit of food news every week for the supplemental. I feel like I missed it last week. No, last week was donuts. We're good. We're still doing this. So this week is beer. Now there's a company, I'm gonna not pronounce this right. InBev. Sure, it's an abbreviation, I would imagine. ABINBEV. So they own Beck's and Budweiser and Corona and a bunch of different beer companies, their scientists just made a very cool announcement / discovery / thing, in which they said they have found a way to brew beer without boiling the wort. Beer fermentation is an interesting thing, and one of the steps in that process is you have to boil the wort in order for it to activate. Really, the activation is the agitation from the bubbles, I believe, and partially the temperature as well. But they have found that they can get it to activate at a lower temperature, but then you don't get the bubbles, which help. So what they've done is they've injected the beer at that stage with a CO2 or with nitrogen. So that means it's really interesting. They claim it doesn't affect the flavor at all, but it does mean they are going to be using less water, because if it doesn't boil, then it doesn't evaporate as much. So that means they have to use less water, which means they're going to decrease they're going to increase their green friendly bits, and they're trying by 2025 to get all of their breweries in line with this new method, as well as other carbon saving things that they've been implementing to make their company just in general more green. So that's really cool. Oh, sorry, that got a little close. That's really cool. I'm very interested to see exactly how that does it. How it changes things. Not that I'm a big drinker of any of their brands, but I'll be willing to give it a shot once I know that all of the beers on the market have gone through this exact process. So, yeah, I'm down. And then a final bit of supplemental news this week for your week in Nerddom is scientists. It's a very large study. Scientists at UC Berkeley Lab, Argonne National Lab, MIT, and UC Santa Cruz published a study this week in a journal, Nature Journal, where the results of some testing they've been doing to basically make batteries, rechargeable batteries, more productive and create less waste and so on and so forth. And they have found that they found a way, and it's really complicated, so I'm just going to give you the really shorthand version. They found a way to get rid of cobalt, which is an element on the periodic table. They don't need the cobalt. They found a way that they can effectively use almost any other element on the periodic table. So that means the resources are going to be more readily available, which is going to do two things. This new process is going to allow them to make more efficient batteries. It's going to be, I forget the measurements. It's a weird way to measure. It's basically 1,000 per unit, 1,000 milliamps or something like that per unit, instead of 600 to 700 per unit. So that's really awesome. And then B, it's going to make the technology cheaper because they can use any other element to do it. So therefore, they have a large capacity to a larger set of supplies that they can use. So in the next few years, and this is just an initial finding, they have to test it more and test it with larger batteries, so like batteries for hybrid vehicles and so on and so forth. So as it stands right now, this is not going to become consumer technology for a few years yet, but 5 years down the road or so, we're going to be seeing a lot better batteries for a lot cheaper. So that's awesome. I'm super excited for the future, man. And that, guys, is the end of this week's supplemental week in Nerddom. What did I miss all across this Nerddom? What should we talk about next week? Definitely let me know in the comments down low. If you want to go deeper into the conversation, the website is generallynerdy.net. If you want to support the channel, patreon.com/generallynerdy. If you are falling behind on your nerd news and you want to catch up, click or tap one of those boxes right there to the left of my face to do that. But before you go do any of that stuff, website, other videos, whatever, always remember, guys, that if it's generally nerdy, it's probably here.